Okay, so to start with, I use Maybelline's Colour 24-Hour Tattoo in Creme de Rose, and I use this all over my lids as shown here in double speed. I use this all the way up to my brow. It's really kind of neutral shade, so you can use it with any kind of look, and it's quite a nice consistency. I then took the highlighting shade from my Kiko Milano's Hi-Brow Expert palette. I love this palette, and I just used the highlighting shade under my brow bone as showed here with a fluffy brush, just to give it kind of a subtle highlight. To make this a little bit more dramatic, I went in with my Benefit Highbrow pencil. I've lost the lid of this and it's getting really hard to work with. I think it's drying out a little bit, but I just blended that in with my finger just to give it a pop of white colour, and then I just went over it with that blending brush just to blend it in a little more. My parents actually picked this up for me when they went on holiday from the plane. I love it. It's L'Oreal's La Palette Nude, and it's in Rosé, and I just took that shade as I showed in the last clip, I'm rambling now, and used the same crease brush just to create a gentle crease. I then went in with this colour from the palette with a more concentrated crease brush just to build up that crease a little bit more. So I just put that kind of underneath that really subtle crease that I've created, just to deepen it a little further. I then used MAC's eyeshadow Woodwinked, and I used this with this dense eyeshadow brush and packed it all over my lid. This is an amazing neutral colour. I've just actually got it and I love it. It's a Volux Pearl eyeshadow from MAC, so it gives that really nice pearl effect finish. So like I'm doing here, I just applied it all over the lid on that packed brush, on that dense brush. I took that dense crease brush again, and I took the same colour that I used to deepen my crease earlier, and I just smudged that under my eyes. This colour hasn't got a lot of pigment in it, so it's not going to kind of give you you know, really like dark under eyes and make you look tired or anything. It just kind of smudges the look out and just ties it all in a little bit more. I took the white from the palette, which I'm absolutely in love with. This was my first time using it, and I just used it on the inner corner of my eyes, and it just made my eyes pop a lot more. And because I loved it so much, I then went in and used it under my brows as well. So you could definitely skip the first step of using the Benefit Highbrow or that first highlighting shade I used, and just go in with this instead if you just wanted to buy the one palette. So I then went in with another MAC eyeshadow. This is MAC's eyeshadow in Embark, and I just went in with kind of a fluffy crease brush, and I wanted to just build up that crease even further. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just building it up focusing on the outer corner of my eye and the outer corner of my crease, so just working it in. As you will see in the next clip as well, after I'd done this, I went back in with the same eyeshadow but with more of a dense eyeshadow brush, and I just used this to kind of deepen even further the outer corner of my eyes. By using a more dense eyeshadow brush, you're obviously packing in the colour more, so it makes it appear darker. So this is a good trick if you don't want to go and purchase kind of two eyeshadows. Just change up the brush to a more dense brush, and it will deepen that shade. then used a matte black. This is from a very old number 7 palette. When you are using a black to deepen your eyes, kind of try and pat it on rather than smudge it in, because as soon as you start smudging in is when you start to kind of overtake the other colours. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of dabbing it on the areas I want rather than pulling it all over my eyes. I then went in with a kohl eyeliner. I think this one's Lancome, but anyone will do. And I just filled in my waterline just to obviously deepen it and make it a bit darker, and then went in with a liquid eyeliner over the top of my eyes. I then added eyelashes. These are Eyelashes Wispies, is that what they're called? The key trick to using eyelashes is apply the glue and literally leave them for about a minute until the glue goes really tacky. It's so much easier to apply when you do that. It's unreal. I then went back in with the liquid eyeliner and just filled in kind of anywhere where you could see the seal of the lashes, just to disguise them a little more. I then added mascara. The one I was using was Kiko Milano's Hypnotic Gaze Mascara in number 2, and I just covered my natural eyelashes and then also put it on my bottom lashes just to make them look a little bit bigger. Okay, so for my base I used Revlon's Photoready Skinlights Face Illuminator in Bare Light. I actually picked this up from TK Maxx, but I have tried it before in the different shade. I absolutely love it. I then went in with MAC's Mineralize Moisture Foundation SPF 15 in NC25. I'm not a massive fan of this foundation. It's a lot more lightweight than I'm used to, but because I do go in and contour with concealer and things over the top, you want to go for kind of a lighter base, because you literally otherwise packing foundation on top of foundation, it can get a bit cakey. So that's why I like to use this for when I'm contouring. I then blended that out with just a stippling brush, as you can see here, in double time. It is a great foundation if you do like the coverage, like I said, but if you do kind of like double wear and Estee Lauder double wear and that kind of thing, then you may find it too light for you. I then went in with Stila's concealer, Stila's Perfecting Concealer shade A, and I used this for my highlighting of my contour. So I just applied it in the areas I wanted, smudged it out with my finger because a little goes a long way, as you can see here. And then once I've done that and I highlighted the areas I wanted to, I went in with Real Techniques Miracle Sponge just to blend it in and get rid of any obvious lines. Then went in with Kiko Milano's Beauty Balm Foundation in number 12 for my contour. That's what I meant when I said I was putting foundation on top of foundation, so you can afford to go for a lighter base. I do love this for my contour. I use the sponge that it comes with to blend it out, because I just like the way I can hold it to kind of like guide the contour up, as you can see what I'm doing here. Again, a little goes a long way, so be careful. I put a little bit too much on here, so I spend an awful lot of time blending it out. I'm going to start explaining myself for the next clip already because there's a long explanation. But basically I went in with what I thought was the loose silk finishing powder by Constance Caroll something. It's just a really cheap loose powder, and this is the baking technique I use. So you put it onto a sponge like this, a loose powder, and then you literally pat it onto your highlighted areas and it bakes that area, as they call it. So it's kind of literally setting it, and it's a really heavy way of setting it. Now the reason it looks so yellow here is I didn't realise that I had that silk finishing powder's lid on my Banana Powders product, so I was actually using the wrong product here, but I wanted to use the kind of white powder, but I didn't end up using it. Long story short, anyway, I then went in with MAC's Mineralize Skin Finish in medium tan just to kind of set the rest of my face with just a big Barry and fluffy brush, and then I went in with Benefit's Hoola bronzer just to go over my liquid contour and set that. I then took one of the highlighting shades from my well-loved Kat Von D shade and, oh, what is it? Shade and Light? Yeah, Shade and Light palette, and I use this just to highlight those areas even more, so under my eyes, down my nose, on my forehead. It's the best palette ever. If you're going to invest in something, any higher end product, then I would 100% recommend this without a doubt. As you'll know if you watch my videos or read my blog, I'm not usually a fan of blusher, but I ventured into using one today. So I use MAC's Mineralize blush in Petal Power. I use it very, very lightly, as you can see here. So literally, like, you probably can't even notice I'm wearing it. I'm just not a fan of blusher. So I just kind of swept this over the apple of my cheeks just to give like a really small hint of colour. Then I went on to do my lips, so I used this Laval, is it Laval or Laval lip liner in the shade Coffee. I love this. It was a cheap one that I picked up. I think it was in a market or something at some point. It is on my blog somewhere. And I just lined my lips with this, and I did the typical ombre, so I kind of shaded in the outer areas a little bit more, and the centre of my lips a little bit more. And then, as you will see after using this, I went in with Gosh Velvet Touch lipstick in Darling, just to fill in the middle area. I've explained this before, but basically by obviously putting a darker liner on and then highlight, using a lighter lipstick, you basically creating the contour effect that you create on your cheeks, so it just makes them look a little bit bigger. So that's what I'm doing here. And that is it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.